nothing more frustrating than having an old can of paint and you can't open up the lid because the paint and the lid are bonded together. The paint is all dried up along the rim, and you really end up just destroying the can and the lid, and you can never get it back together. So this is a method if you've got, and I've used this method on paint that I've put away for 5, 6, 7, 10 years, and it's impossible to get the lid off. This way it re-emulsifies almost the paint, makes it soft if you will, and it's quite easy to take it off. Now you can use this method on solvent base, but just be conscious that flame and solvents are not the best mix. So you have to work a little bit quicker. But remember, the solvents are in the can, so, and usually these cans are pretty darn sealed if you can't get the lid off. So once you start propping the lid off, you got to cut the flame out. But it will work, and I've used it on lacquer. I've used it on all types of solvent-based and water-based. But don't use it on plastic cans. Some of the new paint cans that you're getting, that you see at Lowe's or Home Depot, the body of the can is made out of plastic, and the heat, it just won't do it. Now, even after you've mixed some paint and you've poured it out in a tray, clean the lid. Here I'm just taking a scrap piece of cardboard and I'm running it along the rim, and this will keep paint from building up in the rim, and it'll allow the can to, the lid if you will, to seal properly. And I still clean up the lid a little bit. Now, after you've first applied the heat, it's not a bad idea to take the lid, and because the paint will still be a little bit soft, you can actually take a knife and clean it off. Here it's sort of dried up again because I applied the heat, I took the lid off, I did a few other things, and the paint has kind of gotten hard again. But it's not so bad. This is a latex, and it tends to be a little bit more rubbery. Some oil paints can be pretty hard, and it's recommended to go ahead and use the same method and heat the paint on the lid so you can completely clean it. And then all along the perimeter of the can, you just want a nice, even, constant tap and get it sealed. Now you're going to notice that I keep rotating the can of paint because I poured some paint out, and if I hit the lid where there's a bit of paint in the rim of the can and it's pointed towards me, it's going to squirt paint at me. So I always put that part away from me. Here what I'm doing is keep organized. I write the paint, where it goes, what year it was made, and I also look where these handles are. If you put your markings here in this part of the can, then when you pour paint out, it won't cover up the markings. So it's a better method, if you will, to keep that. Now here I'm going ahead and I've got a fair bit of old paint, and even if I stick that lid on there, it's going to be really hard to get that lid to sit smoothly. This is water-based, so I'm not too concerned about fumes or flame. Heating up the dried up paint. I'm taking just a regular screwdriver and running it around the perimeter. I'm being kind of careful not to drop particles of this gook, if you will, into the can, because you don't want to mess up the paint that's inside the can. So again, I'm always surprised that you can have a can of paint that's been sitting around for 7 years. It certainly does settle to the bottom. You have to stir it up well. Sometimes the paint completely coagulates and turns into something else, and it's completely unusable. But all of these cans, they're still usable paint. And here, the edges of the lid are pretty darn thick. So I'm going to re-emulsify, reheat up these edges so that I can just scrape this paint off instead of having to, it comes off almost like, it almost turns into a bit of a gum, if you will, and much more convenient, much easier. Notice that I am wearing gloves, so if I miss, I won't cut myself. These are offer a fair bit of dexterity, these gloves. All right, so lid looks clean, the rim of the can looks clean. Put it together and put it away, and boom, there you've got it again. This is a great technique for anybody who's got old paint, maybe from your house, maybe you're getting ready to sell your property, and you dig out an old can of paint, and this is a way to get into it without destroying